Hello everyone, welcome to the Comic Room. Today I will be doing something I haven't done before. I'll be doing a commentary on a commenter's video. So recently I've been kind of floating around the internet and I came across Scott Cramer. A young kid, 21, 20 to 24, depending on when you watch his videos, from what period it is. Mostly does commentary on kind of other YouTubers, other TikTokers, or whatever the case might be. One thing that you'll notice when you listen to him is that he seems very transparent and honest about what he's doing. He also isn't overly cynical, which I tend to be, so I appreciate that too. So a while back, he did a marathon, and obviously, given my shape, I am not a marathon runner. My sister regularly does marathons, and my dad, while he was still alive, used to run marathons as well. So it's kind of a family deal for our family. I went through the training to run a marathon, and then it didn't work out. But I stuck with the training. Back then, it was like 10 years ago or something. The training is intense, and it's actually harder than the marathon on purpose. But when you're running the marathon, there's other elements of the marathon that come into play, and actually Scott hits on all those. Now, some might be saying the title of the video is "Can you run a marathon without training?" That's very broad, and I think Scott did that on purpose. If you think about it, can you run a marathon without training? Of course you can. Can you walk a marathon without training? That's more likely. Can you complete a marathon? Now, a lot of people that have done the training classes and courses and train properly don't complete the marathon. And we'll cover some of those topics, and Scott hits on those topics, whether he knows it or not. He's hitting on those topics. If anyone watches this video and thinks it's encouragement to run a marathon without training, you have not watched the video. It is not. People run marathons all the time without training, but bad things can happen, and I've seen them firsthand. So we could talk about this. Now, remember, I think when Scott filmed this, he was 21. Your body can go through a lot more punishment when you're 21. Scott complains about a knee injury. I'm right there with him. I skateboarded for the first 20 years of my life, and my knees are destroyed from it, and that's what stopped me from running the marathon. But let's watch this together. Once again, first time I'm doing this, so the audio might be not great. I put it softer on purpose so that I can talk over it, but it might not be great. Let's give it a shot.
How you feeling?
You know how people always say, oh, it's excruciating?
Yeah.
It's excruciating.
So this is really important that
I'm not going to beat.
the very first thing he shows in his video... Oh, let me put it up screen. Just kidding, everyone. There we go. The very first thing he says in the video... and realize that Scott is very honest, but tongue-in-cheek. So you're going to get not a heavy dose of sarcasm, but you're going to get enough sarcasm that if you're looking to be offended by this video, you'll be offended by it. Alright, so very first thing he says is that it's excruciating, painful, and it really is. Your body goes through changes while you're running that you didn't expect.
Beat around the bush here. Hi, I'm Scott Cramer, and I'm going to run a marathon without training. Yeah, I know, I can already hear you.
Oh boy, that's not a good idea. That's dangerous. You're not gonna be able
So,
to do that.
Yeah, you
so he mentions danger here, and I want to touch on that real quick. A 21-year-old in good shape and Scott's clearly in good shape, is not going to have that much danger. The danger comes in is that if he has a medical condition that he's not aware of, your body goes under a lot of stress. You're not cooling down the way you should when you're running a marathon, because especially if you run, walk, so it puts stresses on all sorts of your body. And what a lot of people forget is that it puts stress on your internal organs. My dad ran a marathon many years ago, San Jose marathon in California, and a guy dropped dead, like 30, 40 people in front of him. It was an older guy. I say that now, but I'm coming up to his age. He was probably in his mid-50s. And his heart just couldn't take it. It had nothing to do with his muscles cramping or him falling or, all those kind of cliche marathon things you see on TV or you see in the movies. His heart just couldn't do it anymore, and he just fell over and died. And he was literally like around the corner from the finish line. Okay, so...
Like my mother. I'm just kidding. Listen, I know it doesn't sound like the best idea when you first hear it, okay? But you gotta hear me out. I'm not trying to break any world records.
So what actually happened here was Scott was intended to practice, but like many of us, he procrastinated. So this is what he ended up with. And I think it's really smart. I don't think it's a great way to get people watching him, which he did get people watching him. He ended up on TV, etc. But I do think that saying that you will go through with it, even though it fell apart 90% of the way, I think there's something commendable there.
Without training. It's a lot of work. I'm doing it as an experiment. I want to bust the myth that you have to be some kind of superhuman in order to finish a marathon. Some quick facts, just so you can get to know me a little bit better. I'm 21 years old, I'm 5'11", and I weigh 160 pounds. I've always been in good shape.
Yeah, so he's in good shape.
Been actively exercising for like a year now. My diet is about as average as they come. I don't really ever eat junk food.
Which is going to help a lot.
Fast food like once a week maybe. Also, I think it's worth noting that I had knee surgery a few years ago.
That's the problem.
Meniscus playing football. I don't think that's going to be a factor, but I'll definitely keep you posted on that. But like I said, this is an experiment. I want to prove everybody wrong that told me that I couldn't do this, and there were a lot of people that told me I couldn't do this.
So let's talk about naysayers. Anytime you run a marathon, people are shocked because they view it as an extreme form of exercise. When they say you can't do it, I don't think they mean that you're not going to pass the finish line, because you could walk the whole thing. And we'll see a fair amount of that going on. But they might be saying you're going to experience pain while you do it. That might be where they come from. All coming from.
My girlfriend had to say about this.
When Scott first told me that he wanted to run a marathon, I absolutely thought he was crazy and that there was no way that he could do it. I started to rethink. Running a marathon is not just physical, but
no, I think she ran the 10K.
Anyway, I think that's basically it.
So she understands at least 6 miles of the 26 miles.
It's 5:31, and we've been up for an hour now.
This is the worst part of running the marathon, was waking up so early. I went with my sister and my dad to kind of support them. I went through the whole routine. It's just colder than you would estimate. They started indoors, which is kind of nice.
A little early. It's going to be a good cake. Cake by the ocean.
Good luck.
So that's just delusional talk. Nice stolen picture there.
Starting to think that I should have trained a little bit for this. Everyone's in really good shape. Actually, you know what? No, I take that back. This is going to be one of the easiest things I've done in a long time. It might.
So there you see Scott's washing it off because he's getting inside his own head. He doesn't actually mean that. But what he did mean to say, and what he did say, was everyone looks to be in really good shape. And when you go to these marathons, even if you're a sideliner or you're a photographer, which I've done once before, you notice that there's a body type. Yeah.
It might be painful, but I want you to know that God is with you every step of the way.
Yeah, this is very unique to American marathons, the whole flag ceremony.
Almost done. That's one.
So what happens here is you start running at the pace of the people you're with. If you're not careful, that is. And so you kind of feel like you might be going too fast or too slow. You don't really know because you haven't practiced to kind of pace yourself out. Some people will actually use music to pace themselves out. Like by the song, I have to be a mile, whatever. Or the beat keeps their feet moving at the right tempo. But the number one trap for new marathon runners and non-experienced marathon runners is that they pace themselves with the people that they started with. And those people could be all over the board when it comes to skill set.
That's two.
So Scott takes the what I call the Costco sample way around the around the marathon course, which is if it's offered, take it because it's delicious, and it gives you a chance to take a legitimate break. At least that's what you tell yourself.
Still good. Still easy. Whatever.
Full and relay. Left at the end of the block.
Tempting. Very tempting.
That's true.
Something tells me I'm running this a little too fast, having not trained at all. Under 30 for the first 3.5.
Yeah, so let's think about that. So 30 minutes for the first 3 miles, 3.5 miles. He's probably on pace for 5 hours. So that's, if you can get between 5 and 6 hours, it's called Oprah time. It's pretty good. And a fast marathon runner will run a marathon in 2.5. Yeah, so that kind of gives you an idea of the people around you and where their pacing is. They typically let the pros, who are the 2.5 hour people, run first so that they don't get bogged down. But yeah.
Probably too fast. We'll see where this takes me.
Oh, there's always this old guy. There's always an old guy. Don't even worry about it. The music's pretty great.
I'd just like to emphasize how bad of an idea this is. I'm not regretting it, but I didn't take into account that my ankles would be screaming in pain by mile 4, 22 to go. There's a sign that said we get free bananas when this is over. So that's my motivation now. I did 10,000 steps on my Fitbit, and I've only been running for 45 minutes. So that's great.
Yeah, I'm on sugar, baby. Good to see you. All right.
Yeah, there's a lot of personalities on the course. Yeah.
That was a 10K. I guess we'll... Dude, Devin, oh my gosh. Dude, what's up?
It is a weird thing, like, you kind of blur out the people on the side unless they have food, but then someone says your name and you immediately, it's like you're the only, Marcel, or you're the only, or whatever, running in that race. It's an amazing kind of experience.
Got any words of encouragement?
Don't die.
Okay, thank you. Brandon's here too, dude. Is there really?
There might be. You gotta run faster.
All right, I'll get there. See you guys. It's only been an hour. I'm running too fast. All of a sudden, there's like a ton of people. So if I walk, I'm like a wimp. Hey, JC.
Yeah, it's funny. Ego comes into play, big time.
A little snack. They're supposed to give you energy, but who knows? It tastes really good, at least. So that's good. I don't play anymore, but I figured now's as good a time as any to have shenanigans. Everyone said running by the river would be the best part. It's not. It sucks because there's a lot of hills.
Yeah, so changing from concrete to asphalt and asphalt to concrete. Asphalt gives a little more. I think maybe it's just the asphalt around my house. But you can actually feel it on your feet. Like either it's harder or it's softer. Or it could be your preference. So
By this river, but we keep going.
So his
It's
Costco
basically just frosting, but
trip continues.
I think they play bagpipes at funerals in Scotland, so that's appropriate.
That's
Here's
some
the deal.
well-willed
I am
people.
at a mile 11, so I mean almost halfway done, and I feel totally fine. My legs are just unbelievably cramped. So
I don't know if that's feeling fine when your legs are completely
I'm
cramped
I'm just
and you're only
walking
halfway.
off the cramps because my
Less than
toes
halfway.
curl over completely. Even my quads cramp up, and my calves are pretty bad too. And that's about 11 miles in, no training. So I think
And he has like his lung capacity is probably very good because he's young and in shape, and his recovery is probably really good too. So I would expect muscles cramping to be the thing that actually stops him. Not everyone quits a marathon because they're exhausted. It's rather they quit a marathon because something has gone not according to plan.
my parents are gonna meet me. They're gonna hook me up with some bananas or something.
Oh, he's got these bananas on the mind.
Look at all those champs. I mean, they're already coming the other way.
Yeah, that is intimidating.
You're beating Scotty.
Hey, remember that knee surgery that I told you about? I remember my doctor said not to do anything too extreme after the surgery because, like, by the time I'm 30 years old,
Yeah.
it's gonna start to bother me anyway. Maybe I should have listened a little closer.
Turn around.
Nice job. All right. Smells like barbecue.
Okay, so what I like about what he's doing is that because he's taking his time, even though he probably doesn't feel like he's taking his time, he's going as fast as he can. He's interacting with the marathon experience, and I really like that. There's a lot of runners that don't, and sure, it might impact your time if you do, because you're slowing down to high five people and stuff and talk to people, but I feel like that's what it's really about, is kind of taking in the experience, allowing the community to get in on the experience as well.
I think someone's grilling. Might have to take a break, see what they're cooking up. About to go through Concordia. We're just about at the halfway mark.
Yeah, so you get to go through a lot of places that you don't normally get to go
I need a
through.
banana though. I don't know if you've ever
Oh, those
felt
bananas.
what excruciating pain feels like, but I'm pretty sure this is what it is. I've never
Yeah.
been in this much pain, so
Yep.
this is new for me. It's kind of
It's
exciting.
nothing like pregnancy, but
Also, I'm freezing. Tempting. Very tempting.
the bikes.
Snack time. These are so good. Oh my goodness. Thank you. I'm not. I am. Yep, I have been. About.
Yeah, one's going. He's in the Costco line over here. When it's offered,
So I
take
don't
it.
know how I'm gonna make it. I didn't train for it. We'll see how it goes. Thank you for the muffin. Nice guys. Goodbye. This is where I go to school. Cool.
It's halfway point.
Dominic right there. I'm halfway done, baby.
It's a good band. Mile 13.
All right, let's keep going, huh? Thank you. It's not as bad.
You know, so it's funny, like when you're handing out water and candy and whatever, you see the people walking and you're like, do they really need water? But they do.
I'm hosting a fun run race for the cure for rabies.
I think the most meaningful thing to muscles is getting water in your system. So when they're in the state, your body's dehydrating faster than you're hydrating it. Marathon runners lose a lot of weight. They lose a ton of water weight. and water or hydration, should I say, helps muscles repair and have longevity. So it's really important to grab water whenever you can on these runs.
Got 12 miles to go. This is the famous bridge. All right, keep going.
I like that he is taking in the city.
That doesn't help me at all. I have no motivation right now. No, I have motivation.
It is funny too, like you can see he's going up a slight incline here. Even the slightest incline feels like you're climbing a mountain. It's crazy.
I feel like I'm the youngest one out here. But this must be like an old person sport, because I definitely don't see anyone my age, and I haven't the whole time.
He just goes.
Scott, you want some French fries?
His family, his girlfriend, a wife now, I think. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I was thinking I was almost done, and then I realized it's the 2/3 mark. 11, everybody, make a wish. I wish that this was over. Oh man.
And I think this
6 miles to go.
This is really key. A lot of people hit the wall at around 20. It depends on, you know, who you are. I actually believe that he doesn't hit a psychological wall. And yeah, his body hit a wall around 4 miles, which training would have certainly helped with. But I think if you watch a lot of Scott Cramer, you understand how positive he is, and what that he is a mental patient. No, I'm kidding. He is mentally very strong, and I would argue that anyone that goes full-time YouTube is mentally strong. But I think that's what helped him more than anything else.
Found reinforcements. Like 5.5 miles to go, probably. One of the easiest things I've ever done. You know.
Yeah.
A mile ago, he said it was close.
No.
Yeah.
That.
It's okay to joke
A
about
little bit.
how much it sucks, because it does. He's walking like Sasquatch. There we go. That's the Costco line. Rain. Okay, so it's incredible when you go to a marathon to even just to experience it, because it's raining for him right now, and there's people standing out there that actually ran the race. That's a race bib on that guy, and he's high-fiving people. He actually came back down the line because he's got his medal, and he's now high-fiving people, encouraging them to go on. I've seen marathon runners actually run back with people to the finish line to pull them across the finish line, and then go back down the line to go get another person and pull them across the finish line. The community is amazing. That being said, when they're not running, they could be assholes. But I don't know.
No training. Unbelievable. Home stretch. We're back to the dome, right where we started. So glad it's done.
It's actually, when your marathon goes through different weather, so it starts out warm, or it starts out really cold, then gets warm, and then rains. It's actually one of the better running conditions, because your body can kind of, outside of slipping and all that kind of thing, your body kind of feels revitalized when it gets hit with water and rain. It feels really good.
Jog across the finish line at least.
You'll notice that he's not actually tired.
Cramping so bad. Finish it with a jog.
He's not breathing hard. Like, look at the guy in front of him. Clearly muscle cramps. And looks exhausted. The guy that's now behind him.
Easiest medal I ever won in my life.
And that's sarcastic. It might be that he's never won a medal in his life before.
Also, wouldn't do it over again, ever.
So that's really deceptive. We could say we'd never do things in our life again. If he meant that he wouldn't do it without training again, totally see that. I don't think he would probably run a marathon again, given his knee problems and all that kind of thing. He now realizes how hard it is on your body. But that's not what most people say. There's a reason why you have serial marathon runners, and they're not the 2 hour 30-minute guys and girls. They're actually these guys that run in 6 hours, and they get a high out of it, and they get a lot of sense of achievements out of it. So they keep coming back, and there's a reason why. I mean, it's a good thing. Yeah.
Okay, it's the day after, and I feel
Yeah, the
great.
day after is awful.
Oh boy! Hold on. Okay, now let's see how far I can make it.
Ooh, he's walking.
I'm cruising.
Yeah, look at this.
My left leg, like my knee. Oh, it's just. To answer the question, if it's possible to complete a marathon without training, the short answer is yes. The long answer, yeah, kinda, but you can't really do it all that well. Yeah, it's not something that I would recommend doing because it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. I pictured myself running most of it, when in reality I ended up probably running like 13 miles. I probably ran about half. I ran the first 9 miles.
I think you ran a lot less
other than to record
than he's giving credit for. I think
my legs started cramping up because I was just not conditioned physically to do that. I never felt tired. I just
so. Based on what we were shown, it looks like he probably ran for 4 to 5 miles, jogged for a good 4 to 5 miles, and walked the rest. It's really hard to understand how that breakup works when you're actually doing it, and even afterwards. It's really hard to predict. I would say 13 and 13 is very generous.
did end up taking me a little over 6 hours to complete, but I mean, I feel good about that still. I would say if you're trying to qualify for a major marathon, you're definitely gonna have to train. Go for it. I mean, there's nothing stopping you. And as I'm sure you saw in that last mile, there was a big banner for Levi's Hope, and we're repping the Levi's Hope gear today.
That's good.
I'm a huge fan of Levi. I'll link to their page. Definitely check them out. It's awesome.
Would recommend.
It was very encouraging because they were at the very last mile, and I came through. I mean, I did not finish last, but I was very far back, and they were all still dancing, you know, having a great time, making me feel like I actually mattered, which was great and much needed.
That's
so
funny.
shout out to them. So I think I'll just end it off by giving a shout out to all the haters, all the people who said I couldn't do this. Shout out to my girlfriend and my sister for walking like 6 extra miles with me because I was very down on myself at one point. They ended
Yeah,
up
that's
pretty
called
much
hitting the
doing a
wall.
half marathon because they had run the 10K earlier that morning. But that's it. My job here is done. Okay. Goodbye.
So, it's interesting. I'm glad he made it this video because I think there's a lot of learnings here. My sister completes marathons in 5 hours. And she worked her way up there, or 5:20 or something. She worked her way up there from over 6. Some marathons cut off at 6. Some marathons cut off at 8 because they can't afford to keep, like, you know, places like the Golden Gate Bridge open or shut down for that long. Yeah. Can you do it? Sure. You know, you just got to have more time on your hands if you want to do it the way he did without training. Even a slight amount of training will help. Like if you had to go on 4 or 5 mile runs every other day, that will help. Any training, really. And I think what a lot of people view marathon training is a bucket that that you have to, it's all or nothing. And it's not like that. It's really not like that. Get something in. When last did you exercise straight for 6 hours? It's like playing 2 football games back to back, or 1 if you're in the NFL. Just give it a shot. I once saw an interview with a 2-hour marathon runner, and he said, they said, what do you think of these guys running this in 6 hours? And definitely a divisive question. But he said he has a lot of respect for people running in the 6-hour window because he only has to be on the track and exerting himself for 2 hours while they do it for 6 hours. And he says he could never do what they do at this stage of his life. Scott hit on something. Is this for older people? I think where he was running was an older bracket at the pace he was keeping. Older / broken. He fell into the second category. There are plenty of young people that do this. I think the older you get, the more motivated you are to either not do things like me, or the more motivated you are to keep yourself in shape or whatever the case might be, and extend your life. And I think that's why you see a lot of mid-30s and up during marathons. Alright, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed Scott Cramer's 4-year-old Can You Run a Marathon Without Training. I think this got some crap from some runners. I think that it has a lot of very good lessons, and it's a must watch for a first-time runner. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.